So interrupting candidates, it's not going to work. I know you wish he did. It would not work. He would not get to interrupt. He would just sound like some pathetic loser who's like, excuse me, I can't get in. Oh, why can't you give me attention? Excuse me. I've seen people I like interrupting. I'm like, buddy, shut up. They're not going to give you any time. It just makes you look bad. Then, especially if they win, if the moderator wins, and with Andrew Yang, the moderator will win. Andrew Yang is not just going to slam them down. He's not like that. Even after the debate, he pointed to ABC and said, you guys are great. You guys are great. This guy is amiable, man. He's making friends. He's a salesman. That's what he does. Don't ask him to be antagonistic. He's not divisive. He's not a demagogue. He's not a politician. So he's not going to be able to act that way. He's not going to be able to do that effectively. And once he gets shut down, then he's going to be standing there. People are going to go say, oh, Andrew Yang can't even stand up to the moderator. No. Better that they don't even think about Andrew Yang until he speaks and says something meaningful. All right. So the bedroom intellectual says he's way better 1-versus-1. Absolutely right. Now that the field is narrowing, I think Andrew is going to hit harder relatively. Long form is his biatch. Yeah, absolutely. Look, Andrew Yang, clearly he's better when he has a long time to speak. You know, when he knows he has the freedom to speak, then he can be concise, he can be long, but he communicates very well. When he sees that ticker, that timer goes off, he tries to get all of his words in right at that timer, and he ends on time, and it's, you know, keeps it succinct. And he's not actually thinking, hey, how do I communicate this effectively? He's thinking, how do I get this out in the time that I have? And that's because he's a substantive candidate. That's because he has things he wants to say. And he's not going to waste his time with just stories and anecdotes. And he's not going to waste his time with just appealing to talking points and what everybody wants to hear. He's going to give a true, complete answer. This guy, I can tell, he's taking a test. And he's answering this question very well. And it might not be theatrical. It might not be good for the stage, but that's what he's going to do. That's what you get. He's not a politician. Andrew Yang ain't a politician. So what do you think you're going to get? He's going to have pros and he's going to have cons. And a lot of the cons are going to be related to the fact that he ain't a politician. What is it that you want, right? He's not a politician. There are consequences to that. He's been formatted to answer questions. As an entrepreneur, as an academic, he's programmed to answer questions. He's not programmed to do almost anything else. He solves problems, answers questions. He's not good at the rest of it. The rest of it is just au naturel. And you're not in your natural state on a stage like that. A different part of your brain activates when you go on that stage. What comes out is a different version of you. You got to be totally calm and in your element to bring out the best of yourself. And if you're not used to being on stages like that, which almost none of them are, it ain't going to work, man. It ain't going to work. Got to let that part of him slide for now and forever. He's never going to be that way, and we don't want him to be that way. He might get lucky here or there, but that's not where he's going to win this. In the debate. Oh, he did so well in the debate. Now he gets to be president. That's not where he needs to compete. Why does he even care? If you're a politician, that's what you need. That debate is your whole thing. But if you're Andrew Yang, you almost don't even need the debate. Who cares? He needs to go viral. That's what he needs to do. Not in the media. All right. What are you guys saying here? So the bedroom intellectual says when he is interrupted, he shuts up and lets the person hang themselves. I think it's smart. I think it's good. Look, I can tell you this. Sometimes you interrupt and you interrupt at the wrong time. And it wasn't good, and maybe the person was saying something poignant, something meaningful, and you cut them off. Maybe you didn't hear completely what they were saying because you were thinking about what you were going to interrupt with, and then you missed something crucial. It's very risky business to interrupt people on that stage. You do not know what's going to come out, and you do not know how people are prepared for your interruption and going to slam you back down. You never know. It's very risky. Better to let people hang themselves. Absolutely right. Maybe you think Harder says he could have still asked people not to interrupt him. What? I.e., I got least amount of time anyways. Please let me speak at my turn. Look, I got to say, I honestly understand that idea, that sentiment, totally. And if I was on that stage, do you think I could hold myself back and not say something like that? Do you think that I could hold myself back and keep my emotions in check so that I didn't just erupt on stage, or at least tell them, what the hell is going on here? This is no way to choose a president. Let me speak. Of course, I'm totally there with you. I know that. And if Andrew Yang was the type of person, I would say, buddy, do that. If I thought that he could do that effectively, I'd say do that. But he ain't that guy. He's respectful. He's polite. He's not that guy. What do we want him to be? We want him to be everything, or do we want him to be who he is? Do you want him to check off all the boxes that you're looking for, or do you want him to be who he is? I'm not looking for a president who matches everything that I want and behaves in the way that I'm looking for. I'm looking for a person who's authentic, genuine, a person that when they speak, you can believe them. And when they act, you know it's in accordance with their values, and not donors behind the scenes, and not lobbyists who are whispering in their ear and not looking forward to the next election. A real candidate. And that means flaws, buddies. That means warts and all, my friends. That's what that means. That's what we want from Andrew Yang, to be a real person. He's going to make a ton of mistakes. So would you. This is not a natural way for people to act, not a natural way for people to be on that stage with those lights, with those questions, with the rules. It's not natural. Those other politicians are practiced at it. We don't want somebody who's practiced at it. God bless Andrew Yang for not being good at theatrics, not being good at the garbage these politicians are good at. There's no shame with being good at that stuff. Politicians is perfectly fine. That's a legitimate career, of course. There's nothing wrong with that at all. I'm just looking for something different this time around. All right. What do we got here? Okay, so the bedroom intellectual says, then ABC did like 3 interviews post-debate for him after that comment. Well, they did do a lot of post-debates, and those were actually good. You could see he was more relaxed and back in his element. He continues to say, you hear about the new endorsement, I assume? The Reddit founder himself. Yes, I heard about it. Absolutely fantastic. I'll be doing a video about the repercussions of this debate. I want to let time go by so that we can know what's going on. Right now, I just want to stick to evaluating the debate. But yeah, buddy. Yeah, boy. Absolutely fantastic. All right. Was ready. He continues to say, was ready to match the funds if the $120,000 was blocked. Isn't that something, right? Coming out and saying, hey, if you can't get that money to the 10 people, if for some reason you get hung up and people keep talking about, it's a campaign violation, then I'll take the ball. Come on, man. That's way better than him having some soundbite. Oh man, what a great surprise. Okay. All right. What else we got here? So he's not a politician, and there are consequences to that. He's respectful to the rules. He's polite. That's the guy we chose. That's our horse. All right. The Asian doctors comment. I'm Asian, so I know a lot of doctors. Okay, first of all, it's funny. Second of all, I don't know why people are offended by that or bothered by that. Look, is it untrue? Is it like some weird stereotype? Tell me. Maybe I'm being very politically incorrect here. But aren't there a lot of Asian people who are at least encouraged to be doctors? I'm not surprised by that. He might know a lot of doctors. If he was Indian, he said, I know a lot of engineers. I'd be like, yeah, I totally believe you. Right? I mean, I don't understand. Why was it? If he's like, if he was Hispanic and he was like, I know a lot of auto body repair shops. I understand that, right? Like, not all Hispanics repair cars, but I wouldn't be surprised at him saying, I know a lot of people like that. So I didn't understand what was so offensive by it. Is it true? Does he know a lot of doctors? Is he Asian? Well, and it's funny. I know the way it landed was a little awkward. The laugh wasn't there, but I could see it in his eyes. He was like taking a chance. That's what we want, right? We want Andrew Yang. Andrew Yang, in normal Andrew Yang, he's like a comedian. He takes chances on stage. And you can't bash a comedian when they try to do something, okay? Because he was trying to fight for you. That comment was him trying to fight for you. It was him trying to stand out in the way that he is. Come on. All right. I mean, did you see him crowd surfing? I love that video. He's crowd surfing in a suit. It looked kind of weird. It looked a little dorky. It looked nerdy, didn't it? I mean, if you think about it, it's kind of nerdy to be crowd surfing in a suit, right? He looked awkward and nerdy, but he stood out. And he made this Asian doctor's comment on stage. I didn't know it was weird and awkward and nerdy, but he stood out. I think it's good. Be with him, okay? Let him experiment. Don't let him feel afraid to be himself. Don't let him second guess his words. This is not, when it comes to performance, this is not what we need to criticize Andrew Yang on. You perform any goddamn way you want, Andrew Yang. Any gosh darn way you want, Andrew Yang. Let me keep this PG. All right. We're almost done here. Okay, some of you folks. Let me look at the chat room here. Bedroom Intellectual says, so I feel like the yanggang needs to needs to use their connections to get influencers to talk to Yang. Elon, Ellen, Oprah, Whoopi, and more. Zuckerberg, Shapiro. Revisit his press gang. Yeah, I think he should go back on those podcast tours, and I think more celebrities are going to be interested in what he has to say. Honestly, I'm just getting a sense of that. I think more and more people are finding out, and the Yang Gang is actually doing a great job at reaching out to celebrities. You know, I know Paget is working on that too. So I think that is happening, and you're right. I think more of that is really good. See you later, the Bedroom Intellectual. Thanks for watching. All right, so let me finish up here. Okay, some of you Yang Gangers, you keep expecting Andrew Yang to blow up after the debates. Do you know now that's not going to happen? It's not likely to occur. It could, but it's not likely to occur. The debates are manipulated. They're going to give him less time. This is the third time in a row they're going to give him less time. He's not going to necessarily blow up after these debates. Eventually, when the field whittles down, then he might very well blow up, right? When there's four of them on stage and Andrew Yang is one of them and he's talking for 10% of the time, then he probably will blow up. But until then, this debate, next debate, he's not going to blow up. He's just going to, but all he has to do is keep moving up, keep moving forward. All right. So yeah, don't expect him to blow up after the debates. What's important is that Yang stays in the race and the field gets smaller. Okay, I think Beto is going to have to get going soon. I mean, I don't think he's low on money to stay in the race, but there's really no reason for any of them to get out of the race if they have the money to stay in. But Beto, does he really have the support? I don't know. And that comment he made about guns, he's not winning the general election with a comment like that. Castro, he's got to go, man. Obviously, the media seems to be on his side. They're giving more and more airtime. I'm really surprised by this, but he is in the business. He is an insider, but he's got to go. And Klobuchar, she actually did a decent job at the debates, but I don't think she's going to work. So if anybody's going to drop out, it's going to be one of these three. Did anyone else stand out at the debates? Did anybody else stand out like Andrew Yang stood out? I know the media says, oh, look at this and look at that and look at how Joe Biden handled this and look at that. But come on, man. Nobody really stood out at this debate. The one meaningful thing that happened was that comment, that surprise, that bomb that Andrew Yang dropped there. Okay? Nobody else really stood out. Nobody else is at the top there. Given that, Andrew Yang did a fantastic job. And, I've noticed that Andrew Yang is different when he's in front of friendlies. When he's in front of Yang Gangers, when he's in front of a crowd that's friendly or at least not hostile to him, not against him, he's totally different. And he doesn't really seem to know as well how to perform, like how to be his actually true self, not that stiff self, but that true self in front of a crowd that is not on his side. When he speaks and he maybe even says a joke and it lands silent, when he says something, the crowd doesn't say anything, or when they don't react in the way that he expects, he doesn't seem like prepared for that. I think he's been in front of his own audience for a little too long. The Yang Gang is so supportive and so there, and he's feeling all that love. And there's some of them in the audience that I don't know that he knows how to modulate himself for the regular crowd. So I wish he could figure out. He should practice in front of hostile audiences. He should go to hostile audiences and talk to them. There's this comedian here in Montreal where I live, and he performs in his house. Okay, he has he has these cool shows in his house, in his loft, and he's always performing in front of a crowd, or often in his place performing in front of a crowd that knows him, that likes him, that he relates to, that are on his side, on his team. And he's very funny. But when I see him perform in regular venues in front of an audience that's not his team, doesn't do very well. Most times it's kind of he's at sometimes shaky, sometimes worse. And it's because he's always practicing in front of a friendly audience. You gotta go in front of a hostile crowd. So if the Yanggang's not gonna challenge you, and I'm trying to challenge you, you gotta find some people who, you gotta practice in front of people who are not. Andrew Yang, go and try stand-up comedy. Go and try stand-up comedy and put that stuff, put that stuff online. Andrew Yang, go on stage at the Laugh Factory or something. Go somewhere where they'll have you perform comedy. Do like 3 minutes or something. All about your UBI, all about your thing. Drop the jokes that you drop. Record that, put that online. Or stream it. Andrew Yang performing stand-up comedy live. That will get you attention. Come on, folks. Is somebody writing this down? Could you please write this down?